this video is about. The mom drove past the coffee shop, and the billionaire winked at her. If this story touches your heart, please mention where you are watching from in the comments. Please like the video and share your thoughts in comments. The sun hung low on the horizon, casting a warm, golden hue over the sleepy town of Brooksville. The faint scent of brewed coffee wafted through the air as Claire Thompson maneuvered her minivan past the quaint little coffee shop where she had spent countless hours. It was a beloved haunt, a place filled with whispers of laughter and the comforting chatter of employees and patrons alike. But that day, Claire wasn't in the mood for caffeine or camaraderie. Her fingers drummed on the steering wheel, a nervous habit she had developed over the years, especially since becoming a single mother. In the passenger seat, her 10-year-old daughter, Mia, was flipping through the pages of a dog-eared paperback. The stories of adventure and friendship had been Mia's solace since Claire had decided to take a step back from her bustling career in marketing to focus on parenting. "Mom, can we go in? I want a hot chocolate," Mia piped up, her voice laced with that innocent pleading that no mother could resist. Claire's heart tugged. She loved these moments with Mia, but they were already running late for the art class that had become a weekly ritual. "How about we save the hot chocolate for after class?" she suggested, glancing at the clock on the dashboard. "We'll get a special one, just you and me." Mia sighed dramatically but nodded, her attention drifting back to the book. Claire felt a pang of guilt. She always tried to balance her responsibilities and their small moments together. Being a mother meant making sacrifices, even when it came to the little joys like hot chocolate. As they rolled past the coffee shop, Claire caught a glimpse of the man seated outside on the patio. He was strikingly handsome, with tousled dark hair and a confident posture that commanded attention even from a distance. She recognized him instantly. Ethan Blackwood, the billionaire entrepreneur who had recently moved to Brooksville. His presence had stirred a mix of curiosity and gossip among the townsfolk. Claire had heard tales about him, how he had built an empire from scratch, his philanthropic efforts, and his notorious reputation for being charming yet elusive. But she wasn't interested in his wealth or status. She was more focused on being the best mother she could be. As she passed, Claire felt an unexpected jolt of electricity in the air. Ethan turned his head and their eyes locked for a fleeting moment. He raised an eyebrow, a playful smirk spreading across his face, and then he winked. It was a subtle gesture, but it sent a ripple of warmth through Claire, catching her completely off guard. Her heart raced as she felt a mix of embarrassment and intrigue. Winking was such a flirtatious gesture, and in her world there was no room for flirtation. She was a mother, not a woman on the prowl. But that wink lingered in her mind, stirring something within her that had long been dormant. "Mama, what's wrong?" Mia asked, her eyes narrowing as she noticed her mother's sudden stillness. "Nothing, sweetheart," Claire replied, forcing a smile. "Just got distracted for a moment." She tried to shake off the feeling, but Ethan's wink haunted her thoughts as they continued driving. After art class, where Mia painted a vibrant sunset that reflected the colors of her imagination, they finally made their way back toward the coffee shop. The late afternoon sun had begun to dip below the horizon, and the streets were painted with hues of orange and purple. It felt like a moment that begged to be savored. "Can we stop for that hot chocolate now?" Mia beamed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Okay, just for a little while," Claire relented, unable to resist her daughter's enthusiasm. As they approached the coffee shop, her heart raced again. Not only because of the prospect of warm chocolate, but also due to the lingering thought of Ethan. As they settled into a small corner table, Claire's mind wandered. She watched Mia giggle with delight as she took her first sip, the whipped cream smudging her upper lip. Claire smiled at her daughter's innocence, a beautiful reminder of the joy that life could bring. She tried to ground herself in the moment, to forget about the billionaire who had momentarily disrupted her thoughts earlier. But to her surprise, as she glanced out the window, she saw Ethan again. This time, he was standing near his sleek black sports car, talking animatedly with a couple of friends. "Mom, look, that man is so handsome," Mia exclaimed, her eyes wide with fascination. "Is he a movie star?" Claire felt her cheeks flush slightly. "He's just a local businessman, honey," she said, though the word just felt inadequate. "He's new here. Can we talk to him?" Mia asked innocently, her curiosity sparking an unexpected sense of dread in Claire. Before Claire could respond, Ethan glanced in their direction. This time, his gaze lingered a bit longer, almost as if he was aware of their conversation. Claire quickly averted her eyes, focusing on her daughter instead. But she could feel the weight of his stare, the magnetic pull that seemed to draw her attention back to him. Mia finished her hot chocolate and with her usual enthusiasm proclaimed, "I want to go say hi." "Wait," Claire said, panic rising in her throat. "Let's finish up here first." But Mia was already scooting out of her seat, her little legs moving with determination toward Ethan. "Mom," Mia called, looking back with wide eyes filled with excitement. "Come on." Claire cursed under her breath as she followed her daughter, desperately hoping to catch her before she crossed the threshold of social interaction that Claire had spent years avoiding. But as they approached, Ethan's warm smile became evident, and Claire felt her resolve weaken. "Hey there, kiddo." Ethan greeted Mia with genuine warmth, nailing to her level. "What's your name?" "I'm Mia," she chirped, hardly shy in the presence of the tall, charming man. "Are you a superhero? You look like one." Ethan chuckled, his eyes sparkling. "I might not wear a cape, but I do my best to help people out. What about you? Are you an artist?" Mia nodded vigorously, her enthusiasm infectious. "I paint sunsets. Want to see?" Claire stood slightly behind them, her heart racing as she watched the interaction unfold. She could see Ethan leaning closer to Mia, genuinely engaged, and she felt an inexplicable mix of admiration and protectiveness for her daughter. "I'd love to see your work, Mia," he said, glancing back at Claire with a knowing smile that made her heart skip a beat. "What do you think, Claire? Should we arrange a little exhibition of her art someday?" Claire cleared her throat, suddenly aware of the warmth spreading through her cheeks. "That's very kind of you, Ethan, but Mia's just starting out." "Every great artist starts somewhere," Ethan replied, his gaze lingering on Claire longer than necessary. "I'd love to see what you create, Mia." The air crackled with unspoken tension between Claire and Ethan. Why was he being so friendly? She had no intention of allowing her daughter to get too close to someone like him, someone whose world was so vastly different from theirs. Yet here they were, standing in front of him, and she felt an undeniable pull toward the man who had once merely been an intriguing figure from afar. Mia tugged at Claire's hand, her excitement palpable. "Can we show him the painting, Mom, please?" Claire hesitated, torn between her protective instincts and the sheer joy radiating from her daughter. Ethan's presence was magnetic, but the reality of their lives was starkly different. They were just a mother and daughter navigating life's complexities, with no place in the world of wealth and glamour that Ethan inhabited. "All right," Claire relented, her voice barely above a whisper. "Let's go home first and grab it." "Great," Ethan beamed, his energy infectious. "I'll be waiting right here when you come back." As Claire turned to leave, she felt Ethan's gaze trailing her, sending a shiver down her spine. They were just a few steps away from the life she had known for so long, and yet, with each passing moment, Claire sensed that something was shifting. Mia skipped ahead, her joy illuminating the path, while Claire's thoughts wrestled with the unexpected feelings that Ethan had stirred within her. Life, as a single mother had been a journey of stability and resilience, a world defined by the love she shared with her daughter. But standing on the precipice of something new, a flicker of possibility, made her heart race with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. What would happen when they returned? Would that wink turn into something more? Would Claire allow herself to explore what lay beyond the comfortable boundaries she'd meticulously built? The answers were unknown. But in that moment, as they headed home together, Claire felt a shift deep within her, as if her heart was awakening from years of slumber. As Claire and Mia walked back to their home, the fading light painted the world in soft pastels. The streets of Brooksville were alive with the chatter of families finishing their dinners and children playing tag under the watchful eyes of their parents. The familiar path felt surreal, as though the weight of what had just happened clung to Claire like an unwelcome shadow, refusing to let her settle back into her role as a devoted single mother. "Mama," Mia chirped, her voice breaking through Claire's spiral of thoughts. "Do you think Mr. Blackwood will really come to see my painting?" Claire hesitated before answering, her heart fluttering nervously at the thought of Ethan, the man who seemed to have burst into her life uninvited, yet strangely welcomed. "Well, honey," she began slowly, "he did say he would. But you know, sometimes grown-ups can be busy, and they might not always have time to visit." Mia frowned, her brows knitting together. "But he seemed nice. He was really interested in my painting. You saw how excited he was." Claire felt a pang of guilt at her daughter's disappointment. "Yes, he did seem interested," she conceded. "But remember, Mia, just because someone is nice doesn't mean they have to come see us. It's always good to be hopeful, but we also have to be realistic." "But you said I'm a good artist," Mia countered, her stubbornness shining through. "He wants to see me. He wouldn't say that if he didn't mean it." Claire chuckled softly, touched by Mia's unwavering confidence. "You're right. You are a good artist, and maybe he does want to see how talented you are. I just want you to be cautious, okay?" Mia nodded, her expression softening. "Okay, Mama." But Claire could see the glint of determination in her daughter's eyes. She had inherited Claire's fierce spirit, a trait that had served them both well through their years of navigating life's challenges. As they arrived home, Claire took a moment to center herself, pushing aside the flutter of uncertainty that Ethan had stirred within her. The small house they lived in was nothing extravagant, but it was filled with warmth. The walls adorned with Mia's artwork and photographs of Claire's life before motherhood, a reminder of the vibrant woman she had once been. She took a deep breath, savoring the familiar smells of home. The lingering scent of the chicken casserole she had made earlier, mixed with the faint aroma of the lavender air freshener she always kept nearby. "Mama, I'll get the painting," Mia called out, dashing toward her room with a burst of energy. Claire smiled, watching her daughter's excitement as she disappeared down the hallway. The sound of Mia rummaging through her things brought a sense of comfort. But Claire's mind wandered back to Ethan, the enigmatic man who had made her feel something she hadn't felt in years. With her heart racing, she moved to the kitchen to clear away the dishes from dinner, trying to distract herself. Just as she wiped down the counter, the doorbell rang, startling her. She wasn't expecting anyone. Her friends had plans for the weekend, and she rarely entertained visitors on weeknights. "Mia," she called out, unsure of what to expect. "Can you get that?" "Okay," came her daughter's cheerful voice, barely muffled by the distance. Claire wiped her hands on a dish towel, her heartbeat quickening as she made her way toward the door. A mix of hope and anxiety brewed within her. When Mia swung the door open, Claire instinctively stepped closer, peeking over her daughter's shoulder. And there he was, Ethan Blackwood, standing on their front step with that same easy smile that had highlighted his features earlier at the coffee shop. He looked relaxed in a fitted navy blazer and jeans, a stark contrast to the world of suits and ties she had imagined him inhabiting. "Hello, Mia, ready to show me that painting?" Ethan greeted, his voice warm and inviting. The sight of him brought a rush of emotions to Claire's chest, a flutter of something almost thrilling. "Mama," Mia exclaimed, bouncing on her heels. "He really came." Claire forced a smile, her mind racing. "Ethan, what a surprise." She managed, trying to mask the flurry of thoughts. "I didn't think you would." "Have time?" Ethan finished for her, stepping inside with a casual grace. "I always make time for art, especially when it's as good as Mia's sounds. May I come in?" Claire nodded, stepping aside to let him in, her heart pounding at the proximity. As he entered, she caught a whiff of his cologne, something fresh and earthy, which only added to her growing awareness of him as more than just an intriguing figure. He glanced around her home, and she felt slightly self-conscious, her modest living space suddenly feeling stark in comparison to the wealth he was accustomed to. "This is a lovely place you have," he remarked, his gaze landing on the walls adorned with Mia's artwork. "You've made it feel very inviting." Claire felt a warmth spread through her at the compliment, and she glanced at her daughter, who had scampered off to retrieve her latest masterpiece. "Thank you. It's been a work in progress. We've put a lot of love into it." Mia returned, cradling her painting in her small arms like a precious treasure. "Here it is. It's a sunset with lots of colors," she declared, pride shining in her eyes. Ethan crouched down to her level, his expression brightening. "Wow, Mia, this is stunning. I love the way you captured those colors. You must have a fantastic imagination." Mia beamed, her excitement palpable as she launched into a detailed explanation of what inspired the painting. The orange and pink hues representing her dreams, and the purple outlining the shadows of the night. Claire watched as Ethan listened intently, his focus entirely on Mia, making her feel like the most important person in the room. "Can I hang this up in my office?" Ethan asked, looking back at Claire, his eyes glinting with sincerity. "I promise to take good care of it." "Mama, can he?" Mia added eagerly, her eyes wide with hope. Claire hesitated, her protective instincts flaring. "I don't know, Ethan. It's a personal piece, and I just prefer it to stay here for now." "Of course I understand," Ethan replied, his voice steady. "But I'm a firm believer in sharing art. It brings people together, and Mia's talent deserves to be seen." Claire felt the weight of his gaze, the intensity of it making her heart race. He was charming, undeniably so, and the way he interacted with Mia filled her with hope. But at the same time, the reality of her life, her responsibilities, and the protective walls she had built began to tug at her mind. "Mia, do you want to show Mr. Blackwood more of your paintings?" Claire asked, trying to steer the conversation. "Yes, I have a whole collection in my room," Mia exclaimed, pulling Ethan toward the hallway. Claire followed reluctantly, caught between wanting to protect her daughter and feeling drawn to the man who had put a spark back in her heart. When they reached Mia's room, it was decorated with posters of her favorite animated characters. Her bed was a jumble of stuffed animals, and the walls were covered with her art. "He's so cool, right, Mama?" Mia asked, her words tumbling out as she rushed to find another piece. Claire stepped back, allowing Mia to take center stage. "He really is, sweetheart," she replied, her heart doing a little flip at the way Ethan handled himself so easily. Mia presented another painting, this one a whimsical depiction of a fantastical landscape, filled with swirling stars and a moon that seemed to smile down. "This is my dream world," she said, her voice brimming with excitement. Ethan smiled warmly, crouching down again to admire the piece. "This is incredible, Mia. You've got such a way with colors and imagination. Have you thought about what you want to be when you grow up?" "A painter," she declared, her face lighting up. "Or a superhero." Claire couldn't help but smile at her daughter's unabashed optimism. "She has a big heart and a huge imagination," Claire added, feeling a new warmth towards Ethan as he engaged so naturally with Mia. "Both are noble aspirations," Ethan replied, his smile lingering as he glanced back at Claire. "You must be so proud of her." "I am," Claire said, her voice softening. "Every day brings something new and she keeps me on my toes." "And I think you're doing an amazing job," Ethan said, his sincerity disarming her. "It's not easy being a single parent, but Mia speaks volumes about how much love you put into it." The moment hung in the air, thick with unspoken possibilities. Claire felt the warmth of his words like a gentle embrace, and a part of her wanted to linger in this moment, to explore what could unfold. But then reality settled in, reminding her of the uncertainties that came with allowing someone like Ethan into their lives. Before she could respond, Mia chimed in again. "Mr. Blackwood, can we paint together sometime? You can be my assistant." Ethan chuckled, his laughter rich and melodic, reverberating through Mia's vibrant room filled with color and whimsy. "Your assistant?" he echoed, leaning closer to Mia, excitement lighting up his features. "That sounds like a fantastic idea. I'd love to help you create masterpieces." Mia's eyes sparkled with delight, her enthusiasm infectious. "I can show you how to mix colors, and we can make a huge mural on the wall." She gestured animatedly, her hands dancing in the air as if she were painting the idea in front of her. Claire watched, her heart swelling with a mix of pride and trepidation. She had always encouraged Mia's dreams, but the prospect of bringing a man like Ethan Blackwood into their creative space felt daunting. Was it wise to let her daughter build a connection with someone so far removed from their ordinary life? "Maybe we should take it slow, Mia," Claire interjected gently, her voice steady despite the flurry of emotions swirling inside her. "I'm sure Mr. Blackwood has a very busy schedule, right?" Ethan nodded, a glimmer of understanding in his eyes. "I do have some commitments," he admitted, though his gaze remained fixed on Mia's hopeful expression. "But I promise I'll make time for you, Mia. Art is important, and so is nurturing talent. I'll figure out a way to fit it into my schedule." "Really?" Mia asked, her voice brimming with disbelief and joy. "Absolutely." Ethan's smile was genuine, and Claire felt a flicker of warmth at his sincerity. "And I'd love to help you with that mural one day. But first, we should get you a canvas so we can create something you're proud of together." Mia practically bounced on her feet, her excitement palpable. "Oh yes, I want to paint a galaxy." As Mia's mind raced with ideas, Claire observed the interaction, a mixture of admiration and apprehension bubbling within her. The way Ethan engaged with Mia, his genuine interest and encouragement, was refreshing, and it reminded her of the kind of father she had always hoped for her daughter, a supportive figure who would foster her creativity and dreams. Yet with every laughter-filled moment, Claire felt the shadow of her reality creeping in. Could they really allow someone like him into their lives? "Mia, why don't you pick your favorite painting to give to Mr. Blackwood?" Claire suggested, trying to steer the focus back to her daughter's talent. "Okay," Mia exclaimed, rifling through her collection of artworks pinned to the walls and stacked in various corners of her room. Claire smiled, but her gaze drifted to Ethan, who was examining the paintings with genuine appreciation. "Your daughter really has a gift," he said, turning his head to catch Claire's eyes. "Each piece tells a story. You must be so proud." "I try to encourage her," Claire replied, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. "But it's her imagination that brings everything to life. I just provide the supplies and a little guidance." Ethan shook his head, an amused smile playing on his lips. "A little guidance? You're being modest. It takes a lot of effort to create a nurturing environment like this. It's all on you, Claire." Their eyes locked for a heartbeat longer than necessary, and Claire felt a flicker of vulnerability wash over her. "Thank you," she murmured, unsure of what to do with the warmth flooding through her. Mia returned, clutching a painting of a vibrant sunset, the colors blending in a way that felt both chaotic and beautiful. "This one," she declared, holding it up triumphantly. "It's my favorite." Ethan's gaze softened as he studied the piece. "It's magnificent, Mia. The way you captured the light is incredible. I'm honored that you'd want to share this with me. I'll bring it to your office." Mia chirped, her excitement overflowing. "Can't wait," he replied, his smile widening. "You know what? I'll make sure to frame it properly, too. Every good work of art deserves a beautiful frame." Mia's laughter filled the room, and Claire felt her heart swell with joy at the bond blossoming between them. But the nagging voice in her head remained, reminding her of the complexities and potential complications of this budding friendship. "Thank you, Mr. Blackwood," Mia said, her eyes shining brightly. "You're the best." Ethan chuckled, a low, rich sound that made Claire's heart flutter. "I'm just a man who appreciates art and a wonderful young artist." He leaned a little closer to Mia. "But tell me, what inspires you to paint such beautiful pieces?" Mia thought for a moment, her brow furrowing as she considered the question. I guess everything. The sunsets outside, my dreams, and sometimes even my toys. Oh, and you know that song about the stars? That one makes me want to paint galaxies." "Impressive," Ethan said, genuinely intrigued. "So music plays a part in your process too. I love that. Art in all forms is connected." Claire watched the two of them interact, a mixture of pride and concern intertwining. Mia was thriving, but each moment spent with Ethan felt like stepping closer to a world that had once been so far removed from her own. A world of privilege and glamour she had long since abandoned in pursuit of a simpler life. "Okay, so what's next?" Mia asked, bouncing on her toes, oblivious to the subtle tension in the room. "Can you help me paint my galaxy?" Ethan's gaze shifted back to Claire, seeking her approval. Claire hesitated, her heart racing. She wanted to say yes, but felt a rush of protectiveness, not just for Mia, but for herself. "Mia, we should probably let Mr. Blackwood get back to his work," she suggested, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside her. Ethan's expression softened, and he looked at Claire with a gentle understanding. "I can come back another time," he said, his tone warm. "I wouldn't want to intrude." "Thank you," Claire replied, relieved but also somewhat disappointed. There was a part of her that craved the connection, the laughter, the shared moments of creativity. But it was safer to keep their lives separate, wasn't it? "I'll hold you to that, Mr. Blackwood." Mia chimed in, her enthusiasm unwavering even in the face of Claire's reservations. "Absolutely," Ethan replied, his smile unwavering. "You'll be hearing from me soon, Mia." Claire gripped the edge of the doorframe, feeling the weight of their exchange. "I'll make sure she's ready for you," she said, her voice faltering momentarily. Ethan turned to Claire, a flicker of something deeper in his gaze. "I look forward to it. You both have a talent for brightening up the day." As he made his way to the door, Claire's heart raced, a confusing whirlwind of emotions swirling inside her. "Thank you for stopping by, Ethan," she managed, her voice steadier than she felt. "It was my pleasure," he replied, pausing at the threshold, glancing back at them. "And Claire, don't be too hard on yourself. You're doing an incredible job." With that, he stepped outside, and Mia rushed to the window, waving enthusiastically. "Bye, Mr. Blackwood. See you soon." Claire stood back, the moment heavy with unspoken words and emotions. As the door clicked shut, she felt the air shift around her, the warmth of Ethan's presence lingering like a half-formed dream. "Mama, he's so nice," Mia exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. "Can we paint with him every week?" he promised. Claire knelt beside her daughter, the weight of her thoughts momentarily dissipating in the light of Mia's joy. "We'll see, honey," she said softly, ruffling Mia's hair. "Let's take it one step at a time." Mia nodded, her enthusiasm unwavering. "Okay, but he's coming back, right? I can feel it." As Claire watched her daughter beam with excitement, she felt a hesitant smile spread across her lips. Perhaps this wasn't a bad thing. Perhaps allowing someone like Ethan into their lives, someone who appreciated art, someone who saw the beauty in Mia's talent, could bring something good into their world. But as the evening settled in, the complexities of the day echoed in Claire's heart, reminding her that relationships, especially those forged with unexpected people, could offer both warmth and uncertainty. And as she tucked Mia into bed later that night, her daughter's dreams swirling just above them, Claire couldn't shake the feeling that change was on the horizon, be it for better or worse. The question lingered in the air. Would she be brave enough to embrace it? The days that followed Ethan's unexpected visit unfolded like a dream, each moment tinged with a mix of excitement and apprehension. Claire found herself in a strange limbo, oscillating between the heartwarming connection she witnessed between her daughter and the charming billionaire, and the protective instincts that had been her constant companions since the moment Mia was born. Mornings were filled with the usual routine of school drop-offs and work-from-home tasks, but Claire's thoughts often drifted to Ethan. She found herself replaying the memory of his warm smile, the way his eyes crinkled at the corners when he interacted with Mia, and the subtle way his gaze lingered on her. It was confusing and exhilarating all at once, a feeling she hadn't allowed herself to experience in years. "Mama, can I paint today?" Mia asked one bright Saturday morning as she flitted around the living room, her energy infectious. The sunlight streamed through the window, casting a soft glow on her eager little face. Claire smiled, her heart swelling at Mia's passion. "Of course, sweetheart. Do you have something in mind?" "Yes, a galaxy," Mia exclaimed, her enthusiasm bubbling over. "And I want to use the glitter paint you bought me." Claire chuckled softly, remembering the impulse purchase she had made during their last trip to the craft store. "All right, let's get set up. We can make a whole day of it." As they prepared the art supplies, a sense of contentment washed over Claire. Painting with Mia was one of her favorite activities, a time when the world outside melted away and their imaginations ran wild. But as they painted, Claire couldn't shake the lingering thought of Ethan and the promise of his return. "Mama," Mia's voice broke through her reverie. "Do you think Mr. Blackwood will really come back to paint with us?" Claire paused, her heart fluttering at the mention of Ethan. "I hope so, honey. He seemed to enjoy spending time with you." "Yeah, he's like a real-life superhero," Mia said, her eyes sparkling with wonder. "And I can't wait to show him my galaxy." Claire laughed lightly, a mix of joy and trepidation surging within her. "He certainly has that kind of charm," she agreed, trying to keep her tone light. "But remember, he's a busy man with lots of responsibilities." "Still," Mia insisted, dipping her brush into the glitter paint and swirling it across her canvas. "He likes art and he likes me. I can feel it." Claire watched her daughter paint, the way her little brow furrowed in concentration, and she felt a swell of pride. Mia had always had an uncanny ability to draw people in with her genuine spirit. "You're right. You have a way of connecting with people, sweetheart." As the afternoon stretched on, the doorbell rang, startling them both. Claire glanced at Mia, who was already bouncing on her toes in excitement. "I'll get it," Mia chirped, dashing towards the door. Claire wiped her hands on her paint-splattered apron, her heart racing as she approached the door behind her daughter. But as Mia swung it open, she was greeted by the sight of Ethan standing there, a wide grin on his face and a small bag in his hand. "Hello, Mia. I hope I'm not interrupting," Ethan said, his voice warm and inviting. Mia squealed with delight, "Mr. Blackwood, you really came back." She tugged at his blazer, her eyes shining with excitement. "Look, I'm painting a galaxy." Ethan knelt down to look at Mia's canvas, his expression genuinely impressed. "Wow, this is amazing. I love the colors you've chosen. It looks like the night sky sprinkled with stars. You're a natural artist, Mia." Claire stepped back slightly, allowing the two to interact as she felt her heart swell with a mixture of pride and apprehension. Ethan's interest in Mia seemed sincere, but she couldn't shake the nagging thought that this was all happening too fast. "Hi, Ethan," Claire managed, her voice steady despite the flutter of nerves. "What a nice surprise." "Mama, can he paint with us?" Mia chimed in, her eagerness palpable. Ethan looked at Claire, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "I'd love to. In fact, I brought something special." He dug into the bag he was holding, revealing a set of high-quality paintbrushes and a few large canvases. "I thought we could create something together." Mia's face lit up like the sun. "Yay, thank you, Mr. Blackwood." She beamed, practically bouncing in place. Claire felt the warmth of Ethan's smile envelop her, but she also felt the weight of the decision that lay before her. Was it wise to allow this? To let her daughter spend time with a man who lived in a world so different from theirs? She couldn't deny the appeal of Ethan's charm, but the protective mother in her urged caution. "Okay, but just for a little while," Claire said, trying to keep her tone neutral as she directed her gaze toward Ethan. "We don't want to take up too much of your time." Ethan chuckled, his eyes twinkling. "Don't worry, Claire. I'm here for the art and I can always make time for creativity. Plus, it's not every day I get to paint with two talented artists." As they set up their supplies in the backyard, Claire watched from a distance, her heart swelling with pride and confusion. Mia was so alive in moments like this, and Ethan seemed genuinely delighted to be part of it. Their laughter filled the air, a melody that made Claire's heart ache in the most beautiful way. "Do you have a plan for what we're going to paint?" Ethan asked Mia as they settled onto the grass, brushes in hand. Mia nodded vigorously, her enthusiasm contagious. "I want to paint a big galaxy with planets and stars, and we can add glitter to make it sparkle." Ethan grinned. "Sounds perfect. I can help you with the planets if you'd like. What colors do you think they should be?" "Blue and purple," Mia declared, her eyes shining with determination. As they began to paint, Claire felt her apprehensions slowly dissipate, replaced by the warmth of the moment. Ethan's focus on Mia was unwavering, and the way he encouraged her creativity was a sight to behold. "Wow, you've got some serious talent, Mia," Ethan said, his voice enthusiastic as he guided her hand on the canvas. Claire watched their interaction, a swirl of emotions washing over her. Part of her wanted to step in, to remind Ethan of the boundaries that existed between them, but another part, a part she hadn't allowed to breathe in years, felt drawn to him. There was something magnetic about the way he engaged with Mia, the way he made her feel seen and valued. "Mama, look," Mia called out, her voice filled with joy as she turned to show Claire her work. Claire approached, her heart swelling with pride. "It looks incredible, Mia. You've captured the colors beautifully." She glanced at Ethan, who was watching Mia with a twinkle in his eye, and felt a pang of vulnerability. "Thank you for encouraging her, Ethan. It means a lot." "It's my pleasure," he replied, his gaze lingering on Claire for a moment longer than necessary. "She's a natural. It's inspiring to see someone so young with such passion." Mia, blissfully unaware of the tension that hung in the air, continued to paint, her laughter echoing behind her. As Claire returned to her seat, she couldn't help but feel the weight of Ethan's gaze on her, a warmth that sparked butterflies in her stomach. "Claire," Ethan said softly, breaking the silence that settled around them. "I hope it's all right that I came by. I just couldn't resist the chance to paint with you both." "No, it's wonderful," Claire replied, trying to keep her voice steady. "I just didn't expect you to come by today. I mean, it's a Saturday and, well, I wasn't sure if you had plans." He chuckled, a low, rich sound that made her heart flutter. "Believe me, this is far more enjoyable than any business meeting I could have scheduled. I've been looking forward to this." Claire felt a blush creep up her cheeks, a mix of embarrassment and warmth flooding through her. "Thank you, I appreciate it, really." They painted in companionable silence for a while, the only sounds being the strokes of brushes on canvas and Mia's excited chatter. Claire watched as Ethan leaned closer to Mia, encouraging her to experiment with colors and techniques. The way he engaged with her was so natural, so effortless. "Mama, can you help me add more stars?" Mia called out, her eyes wide with excitement. "Of course, sweetheart," Claire said, rising to join them. As she knelt beside Mia, she felt Ethan's presence close by, and the air seemed to crackle with a mix of energy and tension. "Do you want to try using a sponge for the stars?" Ethan suggested, demonstrating with a small piece of foam. "It gives them a nice, soft look." Mia's eyes widened. "Yes, let's do that." Claire watched as Ethan guided Mia's small hands, their fingers brushing lightly as they